Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of SportsLogos.Net podcast is what we're calling it now.
I think we are
Paul,
continuing now that we've got a full week of brand equity on SportsLogos.Net podcast. I think absolutely.
now see, I'm not totally sold on that name yet, even though
Okay.
it's total brand. So think of this as like, the Super Bowl wasn't even called the Super Bowl until
Yeah.
episode 3
Yeah.
to use. Yeah.
So,
So this is like the AFL NFL World Championship game number 2.
so this is like I had to go my whole life hearing about how the Eagles had never won a Super Bowl, even though they had won the NFL championship. Now we're going to have years and years of the SportsLogos.Net podcast without really knowing what it's called. Like, what is this podcast that we're doing?
I think eventually my laziness will win out and we'll just call it the SportsLogos.Net podcast. And
Through pure inertia, this is going to be the SportsLogos.Net podcast.
now that we've done a whole minute of what's the name,
Right.
welcome back to another episode. I think the first episode went pretty well. We focused on spring training, and spring training is still going on. I love that spring is starting to sprung.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the right tense up here in southern Canada. I hear the icicles melting today, which is very nice.
Are you continuing to knock them off your roof with your commemorative World Series 1993 Toronto Blue Jays baseball bat?
See, this time you brought up 93 World Series, not me. No, I haven't had to because we're above zero Celsius. Sorry,
Oh,
we're above
Celsius.
32 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, one of my favorite sounds is the sound of melting snow, and here we are, my favorite time of the year.
There is a national park, a joint national park on the border between Canada and the United States, between Vancouver and Seattle, basically. It's called the International Peace Park. One potential name, I think, for this podcast could be the International Peace Podcast because it's on the border between Canada and the United States, with the two of us representing those two countries. So
I like the idea. We just need to work in something about logos in there. I don't
something about logos. The episode 1 of the International Peace Podcast is right now, though.
Sure. We will find peace in this world, Paul. You and I discussing logos and uniforms.
Now, spring training is interesting to me right now because the World Baseball Classic is in full swing, as you say. That's a little baseball pun for you. How about that? Humor.
Fun. Absolutely.
We need a pun sound for to bring into this. So now, I'm watching my Phillies at spring training, and several of their big bats are playing for Team USA, and they've got some prospects playing for some of the other teams. Do you think the World Baseball Classic lessens spring training in any way? Like, if I were going to go see the Phillies, I wouldn't get to see Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper right now.
I think more for people, yeah, who go to the spring training games in person, it could be a bit of a bummer,
Yeah.
right? Like you're like, okay, I can't wait to go and see these big guys, and then you find out that this year instead of Florida, they're off at U.S. camp.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be a bummer, but it also gives you the opportunity to see some fantastically weird matchups. Like I tweeted about this the other day and how like Canada was playing Toronto and
Yeah.
Italy was playing Chicago, Arizona, Mexico, which sounds like it could be a future MLB game one day.
Totally.
Yeah, you get some really cool matchups like that, and you get to see some of your national teams get their butt kicked. Unless you're a
We
Giants fan, in which the U.S. Smoked them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and as we discussed last week, I'm heading to the World Baseball Classic. When this drops, I will be at the World Baseball Classic, and I'm going to get to see Edmundo Sosa, Philadelphia Philly Edmundo Sosa, play for Team Panama against your Canadians. And I'll tell you, in the course of packing for that trip, what to bring on a World Baseball Classic trip as a Phillies fan, an American citizen, visiting Puerto Rico, watching the Panamanians with a Phillies player play Team Canada. I have no idea what to wear to this game. I think I'm just going to need to wear like a hat that just says baseball on it.
I fully support that decision. I think this gives you like carte blanche to just wear whatever you want, anything baseball related. Do you have an All-Star game jersey? Maybe that might be a good time to break that out.
I don't have an All-Star game jersey, but I'll tell you what I do have. I have a lot of minor league baseball jerseys that would probably, they look very baseball-y, but would probably make no sense in the context of the World Baseball Classic. Like, if I show up for the World Baseball Classic wearing the Columbus Clingstones, who Who's going to know what the heck?
I'm just assuming that's a real team
It's a
because who
real
knows at
team
this point.
in Georgia based on a peach.
Based, oh, they're the Peach team. See,
They're the
like
peach team.
there's so many of these that sometimes at this point I'm just remembering what the logo looks like. I don't even know the name of the team. At some point in the future, Paul, I'd like to do a thing where I throw some fake alternate minor league baseball identities at you and some real ones and just see which one, if you can suss out what the actual ones are. I'll
Uh,
cut fake backstories and everything. You're not
I
going to know.
I bet you, Chris, that I would know. And one of my fun little party tricks, I in my professional life, I get to go to conferences sometimes. I will tell people, you tell me your hometown, I will tell you the minor league baseball team that plays there. I will tell you something about your hometown because of the minor league baseball team that plays there. So I promised in episode one, Chris, that we were not going to get too far into minor league baseball on this podcast. I will say February was wild for minor league baseball logos. We can get into that later, maybe, but February was
Absolutely.
wild for the number of alternates and primaries that were unveiled. But we have some unveilings to talk about, Chris, and we were
We do.
baseball centric last week. I'm still laughing at your story about Bruce Fremming hitting you in the stomach after he fell off his
Oh,
broken chair in the press
I'm
box.
still feeling it. I still feel it.
I hope so. I hope you have it with you forever. But one of the big stories on the website, on SportsLogos.Net, which is both the name of this podcast and the name of the website that you have been the editor of for 29 years, the Atlanta Falcons, the NFL's football
Hmm.
Atlanta Falcons. We're going to do something that is not baseball for a minute. They're set to reveal their new uniforms on April 2. And this is obviously covered on the story. We don't know what that's going to look like, but it's obviously big news, right? Like, I mean, the NFL, the biggest of the 4 or 5 professional sports, right?
Nothing bigger than the NFL when it comes to news on SportsLogos.Net.
Yeah.
You people out there love the NFL, and I'm fine with that. I don't quite share the passion, but I appreciate the passion. The Falcons, I think I referenced last week that I have not seen any NFL leaks. I don't know what's real, what's not real, so don't try to trick me into giving out any information. I do not know. What I have heard, though, from various sources and experts, is that we should expect a throwback look with some modern elements thrown in, with the logo remaining untouched. The Falcons, who just cannot decide which direction they want to go in, bouncing back and forth between are we a red team, are we a black team, are we a throwback team, are we a modern team? It reminds me a lot. We've seen a few teams do this in the past. Like, sorry, we're going to go back to baseball for a second. The San Diego Padres, they couldn't
Mm.
quite figure out what identity they had. In hockey, we saw the Buffalo Sabres. We've seen the Vancouver Canucks do this. We're starting to get a hint in baseball of like perhaps the Miami Marlins are now starting to dip into what era of a team are we? What's our identity? And I feel like the Falcons are finally starting to realize that they might just have to go back to their original 1960s uniform and just get it over with, or at least a modernized version of that. What do you think about teams that just can't quite decide what their look is?
Well, again, we saw this in baseball with the Brewers as well, right? Like, I mean, they had
Right.
a
Yep.
handful of different logos. When I look at the NFL, I'm a Philadelphia sports fan. I mean, at first, my first love sports wise is baseball, obviously, but I'm a Philadelphia sports fan. And with the NFL, we have my Eagles, go Birds. And I have a lot of family still in the Philadelphia area. I was there over the holidays, and I went into sporting goods stores looking for gear from my Eagles. I wanted to get an Eagles sweatshirt, and everything. I 90%. I don't want to delve too far into the hyperbole here, but 90% of the stuff that was available in these sporting goods stores was the old Kelly Green with the old full bird logo. Very little of the new midnight green with the just the eagle head logo. So for me, that's a crisis of confidence for the Eagles, right? Like, I mean, that Kelly Green is really beautiful. People love that
Hmm.
logo. And, is it just nostalgia? John Hodgman says that nostalgia is a toxic impulse, right? So is it just nostalgia, or is it just objectively better? And then what do the Eagles do about that? Do they, when they see everyone's buying the old Kelly Green, Did they say, okay, we're just going to do Kelly Green? Because they did it several times throughout the year this year, as reported on SportsLogos.Net.
I love that you throw in these little plugs. I'm not responsible for these plugs, by the way. Uh, well, so what you're seeing with the Eagles is we've seen this with a few other teams, and you get into a bit of a toxic loop, infinite
Hmm.
loop. Two teams come to mind immediately. One is the New York Jets,
Yeah.
who have, since I've started SportsLogos.Net, the New York Jets have gone from the logo they have now to throwing back because everyone loves the Super Bowl three look to throwing back to the logo and uniform they had because everyone loves that look more.
Yeah.
And the Utah Jazz, who have gone from music note to Purple Mountains to music note to Purple Mountains
Right.
because every 20 years or so, a new generation's like, oh no, I want them to look like they did when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you're just stuck in an infinite loop where you have an identity that is hard to identify with across eras, right?
Yeah.
At in the NHL, the Sabres now, there's a
Yeah.
lot of love suddenly for the black goat head logo,
Right.
which I'm sure you can remember that Sabres fans spent years trying to get rid of that goat head logo to come back to the blue and yellow. And now everyone's like, we have blue and yellow, let's bring back the goat head.
Yeah.
This is, I
Yeah.
don't think this is very productive. We need to
Yeah.
figure out some sort of compromise between eras and figure out a way to make everybody happy so that we just never, ever do this
Yeah.
back and forth ever again.
The Sixers, I feel like my 76ers have done this. I feel like the Sixers had sort of a similar trajectory to your Blue Jays, which was
Mm.
like tweaks to a really good brand, an inexplicable period with an atrocious black-based brand, and then a return to that really good brand from before, right? Like I feel like both the Blue
Mhm.
Jays and the Sixers went through something like that basically. But the Sixers now have that sort of retro feeling design that is clearly a throwback to a previous generation. Again, is it nostalgia or is it that's an objectively better design? I have my opinion on that. I think it's an objectively better design.
Well, and now the Sixers are starting to wear their black throwbacks again all the time, and everyone loves them.
Right? Because
So
Allen Iverson.
that's right. And the Jays with their 50th season this year, they're starting to do giveaways with the black era stuff.
Yeah.
And the comments from people are, "Oh, we love this. Bring it back. We love never ever again. Never ever again. A one-time throwback, fine, but a full-time thing, no. When the Jays switched to blue after wearing black all those years, it was probably the third greatest day of my life behind my marriage and the birth of one of my two children. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah. No. Hey, look, people are always like, oh, I can't choose favorites. It's like choosing your favorite child. Everyone has a favorite kid. It's true. 0% chance that my two children are listening to this right now. So
There's a 50% chance that one of my two.
there you go. Okay. Well, no, I was
We
told there
have
would
we
be
have
no
a
math on this.
we have, we have a little logo heir apparent here. My 12-year-old's very into the logo uniform scene. Well, I'm sure he'll take this over one day.
It's a legacy project. Well, we'll see which of my two kids takes over my podcasting legacy here. Hey, speaking of breaking news on the site. One of the things that you have reported about is we're getting back to baseball, Chris. It is baseball season. It's spring training season. The
We
season's
can't
coming
help
up.
it.
We can't help it, and there's news, and so that's the thing to talk about. But the San Francisco Giants. I mean, talk about a classic brand that you want to see very very little tweaking
Hmm.
happening with. I'm working on my
Happening with
pronunciation, Chris. Uh,
enunciation.
the San Francisco Giants, there was a leak, which is always interesting, right? Like when there's a leak, that's always interesting because it's a little bit like when your team scores a touchdown and there's a flag back at the 20-yard line. It's like, is this really happening or not? Um, but the Giants had a leak, and then we're expecting if it's not already on the site since we recorded this and since this went live, it'll be on the site pretty soon. That this is
Hmm.
new information, new uniform, new alternate for the San Francisco Giants. I do have questions about reporting on leaks. I want to get back to that, but what do
Sure.
we know about this New Jersey from San Francisco Giants?
So we're recording this before the Giants have officially unveiled this.
Yes.
So if they have officially unveiled this, our apologies. But this is what we know so far. The A leak surfaced a couple days ago I know how the leak surfaced. I don't know if I'm allowed to report how the leak surfaced, but I can say it came from an extremely credible source. I actually had got my eyes on it a few days before it went out there, and I just sort of sat on it and thought, let's keep an eye on this and see what happens. So yeah, it got out there. The leak that we've seen, gigantes, right? I don't know if speaking of pronunciation, I don't know if that's proper, but it's the Spanish form of giants.
As a person who is on his way to Puerto Rico, I
Yeah,
will
you
get back to
start
you on
working
how
on that.
that. Yeah, I'll let you know.
So the Giants haven't acknowledged this in any way, as far as I can tell. But it looks like their retro, like 80s, 90s uniform font, speaking of throwing back to the past all the time, with a little bit of perhaps Latin America flair thrown into it.
Okay.
And it's black. The word mark is black, so black on black. And if you go to the Giants website, they do have in their promotional section a series of like Latin Heritage Days coming
Yeah.
up. I think it looks like every Saturday home game throughout the season. And in the description for that, they mention they will be wearing special jerseys to go along with it. So we can be little Nancy Drews here and we can figure out that they'll probably wear these jerseys every Saturday home game in 2026. The leak also showed that there was a new alternate cap. No explanation behind that one. The assumption is that that cap will be worn with this new black uniform, but we don't know.
It's interesting to me when you see these sort of Latin themed or Hispanic themed identities. Obviously, minor league baseball has its Copa de la Diversión program where they do Spanish
Hmm.
language brands, and
See, your
you could.
Spanish is good. You got that.
It's okay. It's it's okay.
It's muy bueno.
I was a French major in college, so that helps a
C'est
little
très
bit.
bien. Très bien, Paul.
Oh God, I love the Canadian accent with the French. I love it. Uh, but there are certain teams that are like it's Hispanic, and you're like, and we're doing, and it's like we're gonna put pink and blue and green and yellow in it, and that makes it Hispanic. And then there are teams that like really work with the communities, right? Like, and it's not just Hispanic, but it's they work with a specific community. They work with the Puerto Rican community or a Cuban community, and those are the ones that really just feel like rich and vibrant to me. So
Absolutely.
I'll be curious to see when I do get to see this. Like, is it just sort of like Spanish language? Any Spanish speaker, this is for you, or is it tied to a specific? Is there a specific community in San Francisco that? And I don't know that about San Francisco. So I'll be curious to see what this all turns out to be.
Yeah, once the team officially explains everything to everybody, I'm sure it'll make a lot more sense and be a little more clear. But going back to some of these teams with their like Hispanic heritage jerseys,
Yeah.
I think the most what's the word? Agrarious. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. The Miami Marlins or the Florida Marlins back
Oh,
when they started this with such a huge community
yeah.
in Miami, and their Hispanic jersey just said Los Marlins on it. Now they've kind of made up for it with their City Connect jerseys since,
Yeah.
but oh my, like
Yeah.
there's no excuse for that. Your community's right there. You've
That
pretty
is
much got Havana in your backyard, and
right.
let's just
Yeah.
put the word Los on it.
Yeah. And what do the Dodgers do? The Dodgers, do they
Well,
do it?
They had a City Connect jersey that said Los Dodgers on it,
Yeah. Yeah.
which same thing, but at least it was designed differently. I had a maybe about a decade or so ago, I did an April Fool's Day post where mocking these Los Marlins, Los Astros jerseys, in which I said the San Diego Padres announced they're going to wear a special English language, and it was just the Padres jersey with the word "the" in front of it, so it
That's
said "the
funny.
Padres."
Chris, that's very funny. I like that a lot.
They
Um,
they didn't pick up my idea, but
they didn't love it, huh? Did they?
yeah.
One of these days, I'm waiting for a team to get an idea from a podcast and just be like, "Yeah, let's run with that." So
There's been a
maybe
few times where I've said something and then, oh, wait a second, that this feels all too familiar.
right. I should be a consultant rather than a podcaster or a reporter here.
We
Hey, I did want to ask you about this though. I've always sort of been curious where's the balance for you between maintaining these very important relationships that you have with folks in Major League Baseball or any of the other sports when there is a leak they surely don't love to have it
No,
publicized when they've accidentally let something, maybe if they purposefully let something leak, then then they're all about it. But
which happens.
I'm sure. But is there, without naming names, have you ever had that? Have you ever had a league come to you with like, "Hey, would you leak this for us just so we can get a sense for what people think of it?"
I've never had a team specifically use the word leak.
Okay.
I've had a team or a league come to me and say, "We don't mind if you post this."
Okay. Okay.
And
Okay.
then I find out
Yeah.
later that I was the only one
And
who they
they were
talked to
just
about that. So basically they leaked it through, or they didn't leak it. They let me officially unveil it without telling me I was officially unveiling it. I just
yeah.
assumed I was unveiling at the same time as everyone else.
Right.
I have had teams come to me and say, "Hey, did you see this leak?
Yeah.
Why don't you post about it?"
Right.
And yeah, so it does happen where they'll come to me and say, "Hey, what's going on? Why aren't you
Yeah.
covering this?" Or
Right.
a lot less in the last few years. It happened a lot more back in the 2010s, but
Yeah.
they seem to be a lot more guarded these days.
Yeah.
But how I work with leaks,
Yeah.
especially when I have some of these very close relationships and teams and leagues, it's hard to get into a close trusting relationship with them when
Yeah.
you are like an independent
Yeah.
media outlet like I am. I am not ESPN.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I do not have any like rights holder broadcasting deals with any of these networks. If they
Right.
wanted to torture me down, they could torture me down at any moment. So, it's an honor that they come to me and say, "Hey, we trust you with this. Don't post it until, X day." And I've never violated that trust.
Yeah.
So my rule of thumb is if it has gotten out there some way that I had nothing to do with,
Yeah.
obviously I'm going to report about it. I
Yeah.
might not confirm that it's legit or not. I might just say, "Hey, look what's out there."
Yeah.
Typically, if I'm posting about it, it's probably legit.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Yeah. So if a lot of times a league will accidentally leak it on their store or a team
Right.
will
Right.
accidentally leak it in the background of a photo. And at that point, I consider that to be fair game.
Yeah.
And I'm just reporting on what you guys posted. I'm
Have
not commenting on it in any way.
Have you ever had a team like get after you for like, "Hey, why'd you do that? Like, I thought we were friends." And
Oh,
you,
yeah.
yeah, okay. Oh boy.
Oh, yeah. I had someone call me while I was in a movie
No
from a
kidding.
team saying, "Hey, I thought we were cool." I remember.
Right, right, right.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't post it.
So you
Yeah,
came back from
I've,
taking that phone call and you were like, "Wait a minute. He's been dead
well,
the whole time? What did I miss?"
I repaired the relationship. Let's
Okay,
just
good.
say that. But I'm not going to name names, but I have had a team come to me and say, "That's not accurate.
Ah.
Take that down." And only for them to find out that I knew it was legit before they did.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's something. Wow.
So sometimes a team does not know,
Yeah.
or at least
Yeah.
a team employee does not know that their logo is changing. I
Yeah.
do. I report on it. And then I find out that,
I don't think I've ever told you this story, Chris, that I had once, I received, so I could say the name and bleep it out, or I can just say that it was a designer who works with one of the four major leagues who emailed me, just straight up emailed me a leak by accident. And he was like, "Hey, Paul, here's this logo for this event. And obviously I have questions about using this color here or this color here. And, let me know what you think and we'll get another round." And I wrote back and I was just like, "Hey, designer," whose name I won't say out loud so I don't have to bleep it.
do you
Uh,
call all designers designer? Hey,
yeah, hello,
designer.
designer. Hey, designer, how's it going? Whenever I talk to any designer, and then that way I don't have to keep their name straight, so it's
That's
easier
right.
for
It's
me that
easier
way.
that way.
And I said, "Hey, I think you sent this to the wrong Paul." And literally 10 seconds later, the phone rings and it is this designer. And he's like, "Oh my God, this is highly sensitive. Please don't." And he's like, "I just, of all the Pauls I could have emailed it to, I emailed it to someone who writes for SportsLogos.Net." And I was
Now,
like,
who's the other Paul? It wasn't the other Paul, was
"I
it?
don't know who the other Paul was." No, right. No, I don't know the answer to that question, who the other Paul
Okay.
was. I mean, I could probably make some guesses, but anyway, I assured this designer that I was not going to do anything with this and that I would preserve our relationship and I was not going to burn him for misfiring an email, which is something that I've done all the time before. So,
And then you
uh,
immediately sent it to sportslogos.net. We posted it everywhere.
SportsLogos.net, and that's how come I'm so rich now, is because I broke the news of that one league's event
Rich?
logo.
Rich
Super
writing
rich.
for sportslogos.net? Are you
Yeah,
kidding?
it's amazing. It's just you wait, Chris. We're podcasters now, so we're
That's
gonna be
that Puerto Rico World Baseball Classic. Classic money right
That
there.
is Puerto Rico World Baseball Classic. Sleeping on an air mattress at my friend Ed's parents' house. So it's
We all have a friend named Ed that who has an air mattress we sleep on. Let's
my
be honest.
friend Ed Rivera, and we're going to stay with him and his family. He's Puerto Rican, so he can check us on that Gigantes
There
pronunciation
you
there.
go. There you go. I like how we nicely wrap up our stories. There you
It's
go. We tie it right back.
so nicely wrapped up. Back here to World Baseball Classic. That's where I'm going to be. Chris, speaking of World Baseball Classic, there's a lot going on
Hmm.
the website. I wanted to do maybe even like, I don't know if you and I have ever done anything rapid fire, but there's stuff going on the website right now that I think is worth bringing up here on the podcast that I want to ask you about. So if you don't mind, just a
Fire
couple
away
fire away.
rapidly.
So Glenn Cook, who writes a lot for the website, obviously, he covered that Major League Soccer (MLS) is going to allow ads on the back of jerseys. Obviously, this
Hmm.
is something we're seeing in Major League Baseball. There was a big backlash against it, and Major League Baseball just said, you know, you'll get used to it, as we discussed last week.
Yeah.
So people are not getting used to it. Holy smokes! The Quickcrete ads, the bright yellow Quickcrete ads on the sleeves of the Atlanta jerseys, Atlanta Braves jerseys, are like the worst offender of the worst. Like that is the worst ad on a uniform that I have seen. I don't know if you can think of another, but ads on jerseys, we're seeing it in Major League Soccer. I just think of that like neon yellow Quickcrete ad. Here I've mentioned Quickcete like 4 times now, so it's clearly
It's
working.
worked.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
clearly working. Very sad that the Phillies, my Phillies, didn't go with Wawa, the convenience store, for their ad on their sleeve patch. But that's something that's new with MLS. Obviously, we're trending that direction. How soon before sports uniforms look like NASCAR's cars?
Well, I mean, we're pretty much there. We're
We're
on
there.
the way. Kudos to the NFL for holding out. Hopefully they stick with that. I feel like the NFL is going to be like the last, like they're going to hold out a long time before, but it'll happen. Maybe that'll be the first logo on the side of a Cleveland Browns helmet. Will be I don't know, whatever, some sort of like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something. But speaking of bad offenders for ads, that you mentioned
Yeah.
the bag of cement company that the Braves are wearing on their
Yeah.
jerseys.
Okay.
At
Good.
least at least there is yellow in the Braves color scheme. Like it is minor, it is a trim.
Yeah.
To me, the Kansas City Royals, that one is just awful. And I know it's a brand that's kind of close to people of Kansas City, but it's a bright red square
Right.
on that, blue and white uniform. It's just
Yeah.
it does not fit whatsoever, and it certainly doesn't help the comparisons to the LA Dodgers uniforms that they have. Where now they have a little splash of red, just like the Dodgers do.
Do you
Nope.
think it actually works to an advertiser's advantage to stand out like that, or would there be any value in like actually like maybe asking a bag of concrete advertiser to change their bright yellow to a dark blue to fit in with the uniform? Like, could we do something where we actually make the ads work with the branding?
You see, some teams do this, right? And some like Motorola, with their ad deal with the Padres and the Cubs, they recolor the logo to like they wear a brown and white Motorola logo or a yellow and white, depending on the jersey. For the Padres, they wear a blue and white one on the Cubs. Is there value to the company? I'm sure it depends who you ask, right? If you're talking to the marketing guy, he's going to say, no, 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 we need to stand out as much as possible.
Right.
But there's also like a bit of fan blowback to that, right? Like you see the ad, now you have like a negative impression of it. Like, so my Blue Jays, they wear a bright neon green TD ad on their jersey,
Yeah.
which there's really no other thing. Like, they're not going to wear a blue and white TD ad. Blue and white's the colors of their competitors up here.
Right.
So
Right.
it's tough. I understand it from both perspectives. I would love it if teams instituted some sort of policy where, well, we're only going to do business on our jersey ad if you can actually match our jersey colors. If you can't, then we're just going to move on to somebody else.
Right.
But ultimately, one company's offering $1,000 more than the other one, and I'm sure that's all it takes
Right.
to go between a garish ad that does not match the rest of the uniform and something that actually blends in somewhat seamlessly.
What if the Phillies went with Wawa and the Pittsburgh Pirates went with Sheets, and we could have like the convenience store culture clash across Pennsylvania? I don't
There you
know if
go.
any of that resonates at all with you. I don't know if Wawa versus Sheets has reached north of the border in Canada there.
Means
So
means absolutely nothing to me. I didn't know what Sheets was until this
Sheets
conversation.
Sheets with a Z. Or in Canada, Sheets with a Z. If they ever get up there, then it'll be Sheets with a
I
Z.
was thinking, I was twitching when you said that.
I do
Don't
like when
say
you
it. Don't
go
say anything.
when I write these articles and you go edit "use" into all of my words that
That's right.
don't have "use" in them. Hey, another thing that's been on the website, again from Glenn Cook here, a couple of articles in the last couple of months about glow in the dark uniforms
Mm,
from soccer teams. And Glenn even says in one of the articles, like, oh, this the trend of glow in the dark uniforms is continuing. Is that something we're seeing across sports? Is that unique to soccer? I know there are a couple of minor league teams that have done it sort of historically. The old Casper Ghosts did it. The Asheville Tourists did it. The
right. I
Columbia
forgot about the
Fireflies.
ghosts.
Yeah, the old
Yeah, the
Casper
ghosts were like the
Ghosts.
first one, weren't they?
They
I think
were
they were the first.
among the early adopters. I think they may have been. That was a Brandiose design, and Brandiose maintains that that is the first glow in the dark uniform. That was, back in the early 2000s. But are we seeing a trend? Is glow in the dark uniforms a thing right now?
They're certainly starting to become a trend. You're seeing them more and more, but it's not really taking over at like a grand scale yet. You mentioned, minor league baseball. We saw it in the past with that. You see it a lot in soccer now, but you also do see it in the NHL. They did it. The Seattle Kraken recently this season, they unveiled a new third jersey where there's a glow in the dark component to it. Is it going to continue? I don't know. It really feels very gimmicky to me in that there's no real purpose to it. Like you're not going to play a game with the lights out unless you're the Savannah Bananas or something. You, th it's purely for retail. It's purely to get attention, right? It's to get media attention, to get people talking about it, to make a wave on social media. It's to sell a jersey. It's to get people talking about it. There's no real in-game purpose for this.
Cosmic baseball is the thing right now.
That's the one.
Yeah,
Yes.
cosmic baseball, which is like the sort of natural successor to banana ball, right? Like that it is, that now they're playing baseball with neon balls and the lights out and everything's black light and it's I'm waiting for someone to get cracked in the face with one of these baseballs because
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
only a
imagine.
matter of time before. Well,
All right.
speaking of gimmicky though, like sorry to go back, but like this just popped into my head here is I think the only thing more gimmicky than a glow in the dark sports jersey that has absolutely no use on the field of play is the Toronto Maple Leafs and their inside out third jersey. I guess it's kind of neat, but
Yeah.
there's absolutely no purpose for it beyond this is something neat for us to talk about and get some attention.
It's a little bit like putting sepia toned photographic imagery inside spring training caps
There you go. Exactly.
in order to sell them for $60. All right, Chris, there's one more thing I want to ask you about just because, we keep mentioning the World Baseball Classic. Last week, I kept mentioning how I had run a full marathon in my story about being at spring training in Arizona.
There he goes again. There he
This
goes.
week,
Everyone take a drink.
this week I'm going to keep mentioning the fact that I get to go to the World Baseball Classic and I'm going to be in Puerto Rico. So I do want to bring up the World Baseball Classic story one more time. We talked last week about how the uniforms, by virtue of being manufactured by the same company, are fairly templated. Paint by numbers was the phrase that you used, and that's created a sort of overarching boring effect for what should be a visually rich experience. The one place where I think we get to maintain that visually rich experience is on the caps. The
Mhm.
cap collection I think is pretty interesting. I don't necessarily have a question for you on this, but I do want to share. There are just a couple of World Baseball Classic caps that I absolutely love. I love Team Australia's, and it feels a little bit like the Athletics,
Yes.
the homeless Athletics, has a sort of A's feeling about it. My absolute favorite though is Mexico with like their like sort of Bauhaus like 70s style, with the
Yeah.
line through the middle of it. Just a really just the red and the green working together. Just a really a beautiful aesthetic, I think. So while there are some the templating of the uniforms is boring. There are some caps that I really love in the World Baseball Classic. Is there one that you are drawn to? Do you have an opinion maybe on like Team Canada's?
Well, nothing. I mean, like Netherlands stands out for me because they have that crown, which I love.
It's a great one.
The ball caps, they give each baseball federation, well, there's some examples where some of the baseball federations actually get to use their proper logos. So, like, we get to use the U.S. baseball logo on their cap. The logo on Team Canada's cap is the Canada baseball logo, rather than just using whatever Major League Baseball designs for it. Now you can see where, like, I don't know which caps are designed by MLB and which caps are internationally designed, but I just have a hunch that, say, Brazil's cap is designed by Major League Baseball. Great Britain's cap is designed by Major League Baseball. Just a hunch. I don't
Yeah,
know for
yeah.
sure.
Brazil,
Um,
by the way, is just a gigantic B, like a huge yellow letter B against the blue field here, and it's the largest single letter I think I've ever seen on a baseball cap.
it's not even serifed or anything. It's
No, no,
just a
no.
sans serif yellow B on a blue cap. Like someone just got out their keyboard and Word and pressed B, and that's what you got. There.
We
Call it a
got
logo.
we got to figure out what that font is there. It's probably like Arial, and they just like stretched it.
That's yeah, it's definitely stretched. Like so there was some design work involved here.
Right. They got into Illustrator and stretched it, not because they should, but because they could.
Are you
Um,
going to pick up a Puerto Rico cap when you're down there?
I'm absolutely going to pick up a Puerto Rico cap, and I have a
A Sunday
there's
helmet?
oh, if they have Sunday helmets, we haven't talked about that on the podcast yet. The Sunday
No.
helmet collection has grown to about 600 right now,
Oh my
and they're on a
gosh.
shelf in the basement behind me here. Yeah, if they have like World Baseball Classic helmet Sundays, that's going to be a big moment. You were talking about the three happiest days of your life. uh, that logo, by the way, is created by the World Baseball Classic logo was created by our mutual friend Todd Radom.
Was it? You
Yeah,
think I would know that? I'm gonna go bug Todd after this.
there you go. Yeah, and he did the original, way back when for the first World Baseball Classic, and
Right. Yes.
permutations of that endure to this day.
It has stood the test of time.
It truly has. It truly has. Chris, I'm
Yes,
so
sir.
excited about doing this podcast with you. There's so much to talk
Yeah.
about. When we first started, I was just like, we'll be like 20, 25 minutes every week. We'll just talk about the news of the day. It's not what it's going to be, Chris. There's a
We
lot
are
to talk
chatty
about.
Cathys. That's what everyone says about us.
It's not just chatty Cathy's. That reminds me, you did say earlier, you said we are going to belittle Nancy Drews. And it sounded like you said we were going to belittle Nancy Drew. And what you were actually
Oh.
saying was that we were going to be little Nancy Drews. So,
I hope the Nancy Drew people didn't take that the wrong way. No, I
yeah,
was complimenting us. We
of
will
course.
be
Of course.
space
Now
little
I have a
Nancy
decision to
Drews.
make though. Is this episode going to be Little Nancy Drews or International Peace Podcast?
We need something that looks good for people searching. I think that's
International Peace Podcast it is.
well, thanks
uh,
a lot, Paul. This was fun. I can't wait until episode 3 when you can come back with your report of the World Baseball Classic in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
I am so looking forward to it. First item of business will be, are there ice cream helmets?
Ice cream helmets. I want to hear about the national anthem situation before a game between Canada, Panama, and Puerto Rico. Like, what do they play?
Yeah.
Do you get 3 anthems?
Oh, we got to have a conversation about anthems before sporting
Let's do
events
it.
too. Like that'll be a thing. All right, I've got lots to report on when I come back.
Let's see. We'll see you next week. Have fun in Puerto Rico.
See you next week, Chris. Thank you. Have fun in Canada.
Yeah.